Hello and welcome into a special edition, Megan. Guerilla Sports Off Ice Pregame Live. We figured why not? Pregame Live. Brought to you by our great friends over at Trusted American Mortgage. Trusted American salary-based mortgage consultants want to help you get into a better interest rate and lower your monthly payment. Go to trustedamerican.com today and see how they can help you save some money. Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Jesse Montano, Meghan Angley here. Guerilla Sports Pregame Live. Megan, it's good to see you. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. It feels like a long time has passed, and it's just because I wasn't at Avs Preds on Saturday.
Yeah, isn't that funny how one can just be...
I feel like I've been gone forever.
Forever, yeah. Well, it's good to have you back. Avs Canucks tonight, first of a 3-game road trip. Seems like the road trip just doesn't end. It's more of like we get brief sightings of them at home, and then they're back out on the road. But start of another trip, so we're going to get into that. We're going to preview Avs Canucks. Nice little run here for the Avs. Mackenzie Blackwood, great debut at home. Seems like it's really energized the group. We'll talk a lot about that, the Avs going forward. But you and I also, we decided to go live early pregame today because we didn't do a show earlier this afternoon because we knew we were going to be here tonight. It's 8 p.m. and we haven't even started yet. But so we decided to go live early, talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we would have discussed today on the podcast. So that's what we're going to do. And I want to start with what you were up to instead of being at Avs Preds and Mackenzie Blackwood's Avalanche debut. You were at Teddy Bear Toss night for the Colorado Eagles up in Loveland and looked awesome. Looked like you guys had a ton of fun.
It was an incredible opportunity. We're so gracious to the Eagles for the access that they gave us. Jay, the videographer, was beaming from ear to ear. He got to be behind the bench with the camera at warm-ups, by the ice for the length of the game if he wanted until that first goal was scored. Teddy Bear's coming onto the ice, and it benefited two great causes. So the fundraising was excellent. Players pulled together and made their own personal donation, and then fans could scan a QR code and match it. So a lot of fundraising in addition to the toys that were thrown onto the ice. An estimated 10,000 toys will be gifted back to Northern Colorado families and children this holiday.
I always love Teddy Bear Toss because it's like, you know, when there's a hat trick, there's always that initial like huge wave and then stuff is just like kind of trickling in.
I got hit with one.
Did you really? I love that so much. Jay told me another story from when you guys were there with the Jumbotron, and we'll talk about that in a second.
I think I know.
But I just love it because it's relentless for several minutes where it feels like the volume doesn't let up. It's just teddy bears, teddy bears, teddy bears.
Some great
there were
stuffies too that got put onto the ice. So I was so happy to see it.
I'm trying to see. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like look distracted, but I know I've got a couple of the videos that I'm just trying to find that we could play from some of what you guys got this weekend. But we'll find some here throughout the night. You'll be getting plenty of us. We'll be going live. Intermissions, post-game. And then I will be in San Jose on Thursday. We've actually got a really fun event coming up for you guys on Thursday. Guerilla Sports. We're going to be having Guerilla Sports Central. Avs, Nuggets, and Broncos are all playing on Thursday night. So we're going to be doing a big crossover event here in the studio. We'll be live for several hours with a bunch of our different talent. We'll have different people checking in. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I'll be bringing you guys locker room coverage and all that stuff from San Jose. But Megan, have you gone back and have you been able to rewatch anything from Blackwood's debut with the Avs?
Yes, but nothing specific to Blackwood. So I rewatched the Colton goal and the McKinnon goal, and then that was all that I saw. So I think Lucky had a goal. Didn't get to see that yet. Missed some of the key saves too that Blackwood. But I was reading some of the live tweets coming in through the game, and it sounded like he helped to steady the game that maybe didn't start as well for the Avs.
Yep.
And give them a chance to get back in it.
That's exactly what, I mean, almost verbatim. I can tell that you did your homework either way, even though you were busy that night.
I was bugging people in the press box. You gotta see the McKinnon goal. You gotta see this pass from Casey Middlestat.
The McKinnon goal, the play from Rantanen was
I love
wild.
to see that engagement from Rantanen. The pursuit of the puck, bullying this guy off it.
Totally. And just bullying him off the puck, like more than anything else. Like, this is mine now. Mackenzie Blackwood was, I didn't think there was anything that were like 10 Bell saves necessarily, but just so many that he made look easy. They were difficult saves, and he made them look easy, and it let the team settle in a little bit. They maybe weren't perfectly on their game to start. They were giving up a lot of chances, a lot of quality looks, and he was just rock solid. And what I noticed about him above all else, part of the reason what I'm looking forward to watching for tonight is like he was just positionally rock solid. Everywhere he needed to be, he was. A lot of what you and I have talked about this season of like, be in the right spot and pucks are going to hit you. That's just what he was doing all night. Like I said, stuff that should have looked very difficult and, sprawling and very athletic, he just made look very routine. And I think it was a really exciting, encouraging debut. And you just want to see what he does going forward here.
Absolutely. There were concerns around, can he handle pressure? How does he handle playing against playoff teams more consistently, like in a playoff run specifically? And how does he handle maybe lower volume nights? Like he obviously was getting peppered with shots in San Jose. And I think what will be interesting on the Vancouver side tonight, Vancouver's in a weird place. They're still a good team this year, and they narrowly missed the Western Conference Finals last year. Some key injuries plagued them, so there's a heavy expectation in Vancouver this year. They're shopping Elias Peterson, according to rumors. I don't even know that that's true, but the fact that it's being speculated points to the pressure that's on this team to perform well, coming in on the heels of a loss after Rick Tocchet has said maybe not all of the players are as invested as they should be. I think this is going to be a Vancouver team with something to prove against an Avalanche team. It's a measuring stick game for sure for both teams. That to me, and then again, Vancouver I think has better depth right now just through lines 1 through 4. I think it can be a more balanced attack on their end. So it won't just be bursts of high skill, high danger opportunities from Vancouver. I think it might be more steadily sprinkled throughout, which might challenge Mackenzie Blackwood throughout a night as well. So I think that's going to be an interesting test for him against what is still a good Vancouver team with something to prove. Well,
and the thing that I'm just going to be looking for is they're like, Jerry Bednar keeps using the word juice when talking about what the goaltenders, the new goaltenders coming in have added to this group, and that there's just different energy and different life. You could even feel it in the building. Every save, the cheers got a little bit louder. He made a couple saves in succession early in the game. That just, like a huge ovation from the crowd. And I want to see how much the Avs can carry that forward, relative to what you're talking about with the Vancouver Canucks having something to prove. I feel like the Avs do as well here, where it's, hey, we're back. The conversation has been around goaltending all season. That's in the past, and we're marching forward. I do think back to the 21-22 season when they got off to an okay start. What was it, 4-5-1? It's fine. And people were kind of freaking out. The team's broken. You got to, the Vegas loss shook them to their core. And then starting right in that 11th game, they got some traction going. They got back above 500, and they just never looked back. It was just never a question again of who they were, how good they were, if they were a cup contender, playoff team, whatever. And I just want to see if the fact that what happened a couple nights ago was not only did they get some decent goaltending, like they've gotten at multiple points this year, but their goaltending won them a game there, like kind of bailed them out. Can you take that momentum forward and keep going? You're sitting in the first wild card spot. you're tied with Dallas, who has multiple games in hand on you. Like, let's see the Avs step on the gas here and go up against a team that's trying to do the same thing and find a way to come out on top.
Absolutely. I think that going back to the Buffalo game and the overall result of the road trip, they're trending in the right direction. And there is something really morale boosting in playing as sick as Colorado has been, especially hearing Logan O'Connor's throwing up in intermission.
That was pretty wild of them to share. I didn't think he was going to say that.
I also wonder if he ran that by OC. Like, do you mind if I share that with literally everyone? But to put that into perspective, what they've been able to accomplish then in this last game and over the whole of that road trip, there is a lot for them to build on. And the goalie thing shook things up, gave them some new life, but there's still responsibility on the team in front of the goaltender to carry that momentum.
Let's talk about tonight. Mackenzie Blackwood is going in net. Jared Bednar said that there's something going through the room, and he actually did reference the Vancouver Canucks as another team that are dealing with some illness right now around the league. The Avs call up Ty Felleber. If you check the AHL transaction logs, there's no players going the other way. It's been announced that Felleber will be making his NHL debut tonight. You do wonder, with Jared Bednar talking about sickness going around, or, you know, they make sense they want an extra guy.
It does. I was going to speculate an absence, but I see for the scratches tonight, they had Ludwig, Smith, and Shillington listed as the scratches. So with Giovanni Smith not playing, I don't know then if a forward in addition is coming out of the lineup tonight, just because the power play unit pictures from practice earlier had me very worried that somebody else might be sick. But it wouldn't be surprising if somebody was at some point on this trip.
Well, and that's exactly what I think as well. That to me says that you have multiple guys who are question marks kind of from like minute to minute here. They do have an extra day off in Vancouver tomorrow. But no, I mean, I think it's right to maybe look around the room a little bit and see. This is a very optional practice earlier in the week. Yes, they had guys skating a couple days ago at morning skate. But with them going out on the road, you know, you're on the plane, the hotels, it would make sense that if there were guys who were maybe 50-50, might be taking a practice day or a morning skate off here, just depending on how everybody's feeling. And what's tough is once that gets going around the room, it's hard to stop.
Yeah, it sounds like just the nature of a hockey team that is going to make its rounds. No matter what you do, there's just so much contact with each other.
Well, and yeah, tight spaces, airplanes, things like that. Do you give any allowances, any grace for Avs effort, individuals effort tonight based on what is allegedly going around this room?
Definitely.
Oh, interesting answer than what I didn't know. I thought you were going to go an opposite direction.
Well, because Vancouver's sick too. So it's kind of like, all right, I'll grant them some allowances.
It's just going to be a bad game.
It's kind of a level playing field too.
This is going to be a bad, ugly game.
I don't want the Avs to emerge as the clearly worse team. I want it to be relatively close. They're both sick. It should be relatively close.
All right. I like that. I'll allow it.
But I will grant some allowances. I won't tell you how, who, or where. It'll be a game time decision for me too. It'll be situational. Ty Felleber gets the rookie lap, 9th player to make his debut for the Avs this year. The record for the Avs is in the mid-teens, 13 or 14. So they're not quite there yet, but add one more to the list. You just saw Ty Felleber a couple days ago. You talked to him on the ice as the teddy bears were raining down. Is that where you got hit? The interview or okay? No, it was earlier. It was earlier into the throwing because I talked to him after a couple of minutes had gone by. So great guy. I could see the appeal and the interest in wanting to see him up with the Avs because he feels like a player Jared Bednar would love. I think there's some caution around Prishepov, for example, just the newness around him. I look at some of my notes from him coming out of the rookie faceoff, and understandably, someone like Prishepov is very raw. Felleber's been around the pro game for a little bit longer, and he's putting the puck in the back of the net. And it's through hard work, too. He has some really skilled line mates in Megna and Phillips, who are the setup guys, but his energy is what moves the play forward and gets the puck to the back of the net because of his net front presence. And so he kind of plays with that energy of more of a grinder type, but he can hang with the highly skilled guys. So I think he is something that the Avs are interested in seeing. Obviously, they sign him to an extension and an NHL contract to give him some runway in the organization, but I'll temper expectation a little bit too, but I can see why he would get the nod over maybe some of the younger, newer players.
Well, and Prishepov is the only one that comes to mind for me in terms of like I've liked what I've seen. Why wouldn't they call that guy back up? But I think he makes some good points. Prishepov is still very young. I think new is a good word for him. No issue with leaving him down. Like, he doesn't need those call-ups. And if you have a guy like Felleber who you like what he's doing and he fits a mold for what you need, because as you're talking that through, one, again, Jared Bednar guy. Two, that's where you need guys in the lineup right now. You know what I mean? You need them in those roles in the bottom half of your lineup, generating some energy, feeling good tonight, and having some legs to skate. So I think that makes perfect sense as you walk through the type of player that Felleber is.
Yeah. He's strong because additionally, there's Chase Fadley hanging around there. Jason Poland just returned from injury. Jean-Luc Foudy also recently returned from injury. But I think when I look at the strength component, I think Felleber has an edge on those guys.
We were talking about the other day, quick little sidebar. At one point, at any point, do you just call Steinberg back up, get those 2 games over with? It's just like you'd have to get back healthy, and then it's a salary cap question and a roster space question. But I do just wonder if at some point you let him fulfill those 2 games so that he can be an option to you again if you liked him enough that you'd be wanting to give him another call up. As it was, I know he's not healthy right now.
I don't know if those are rules. Like, can you reassign someone if they're injured?
Oh, no, you mean like call him up?
Yeah.
No, I don't think you can, but that's what I'm saying. I know he's injured.
Okay.
So once he gets back healthy,
yes.
Do you just call him up at a certain point?
I think they should if they can afford to do it, and I'm hoping they can just based on what feels like rounding a corner as far as injury news goes. I can live with illness because that will pass. There is an end date for illness.
Wow, Megan doesn't care about your sickness. Let it be on the record.
What?
No, nothing. You said it. Go ahead.
What? That's different. That's it.
I don't care about your illness.
No, there's an end date to illness.
No,
you get
I know.
over it eventually.
Jeez, tell that to Miles Wood from last year, though.
Yeah, I feel like he had different illnesses stacked atop each other, and so his poor body just got wrecked.
You are starting to wonder what's going on with him this season. I'm just saying.
Month to month is crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
Especially because I think it's multiple injuries.
I do too. And I feel like we were in this chaotic haze of just trying to keep track of all the injuries, but now it's sort of settled a little bit, and it's now, okay, what's going on with Boswood again? Month to month? Can we revisit that? That's crazy.
Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on what's going on there.
We should circle back.
Sorry. Yes. Okay. Avs, Canucks. Again, start of a 3-game trip, super compressed schedule. You finally get some days off next week. Tonight is the linchpin of this trip. Yes, you're going back to back, and yes, you're getting a Georgiev revenge game on Thursday. You better believe he's going to be sharp. And you're on a back-to-back, all of that. Those are easier games. Those are both games feasibly that the Avs should win. But because they are back-to-back, all of that stuff, tonight is really important for them to get off to a good start, get a win against a team that, like you said, is also desperate, come out, play desperate, and get this trip off to a good start. I think it's really important this trip, more than most, to get that first one off the board.
I think so too, because there's a couple days in between then the back-to-back, and it just feels like a snowball at the bottom of the hill. It's caught speed, and they're going to roll right into the holiday break. And so they have a little bit of a moment's pause here then with this game, and then a few days to rest in between. Throw everything you got the Vancouver game, because you'll get a little bit of rest before you have to face the back-to-back in California.
Yes. And I know they do have a pretty favorable travel schedule here. So like you said, there's depending on how you're feeling as an individual.
Yeah, whatever your personal best is.
Yeah, I know Megan doesn't care, but whatever that.
This is crazy.
No, I was going to say earlier, just to kind of out myself here. It's not that I'm not giving allowances for the fact that guys aren't feeling well, especially on both sides. But I do think if you're in the lineup, it's got to be better than what we saw a couple nights ago. And I know Jared Bednar was able to say, hey, look, some guys weren't feeling well. There was just some execution level stuff that it's like, even if you're not feeling well, that can be stuff that's cleaned up. So yes, maybe some mild grace here and there, but the details still have to be sharper than what we saw in the first part of that game a couple nights ago against the Preds.
Yeah, I agree. I'm even looking ahead to after the holiday break where they go to Utah, and it's a little bit of redemption. Like, okay, there were some weird things that happened in that game that weren't your fault, and inevitably there is weirdness in the game that follows the Christmas break.
Yep.
I'd like to see Colorado build a couple of good games here to come out strong and make that a good weird going to Utah after Christmas.
That game is always weird, and every game against the Coyotes franchise is weird.
Yes.
And when you put those two things together, that game is always wild.
So they got the weird one out of the way here in Colorado with some of those fluky goals. I want a Scott Wedgwood redemption game. He deserved better.
I wonder if he's gonna have when he's gonna have his abs stuff.
He's just leaning into it. It's funny to him now.
Well, because he got the pads, but he still has the bright yellow mask. So even this whole trip, again, I know guys aren't feeling well tonight. But you make a great point. It's Monday. Give it everything you have. You got 2 full days. You got an off day, and then at best, or at worst, I guess, an optional practice on Wednesday, excuse me. Then you get into San Jose. You got a back-to-back. You're in Southern California. It's going to be a little bit nicer out. Maybe get to be outside a little bit. Get some sunshine, some vitamin D, help that illness. Then you come back. You got 1 game at home. Then you get 4 full days off.
And it's Seattle, right?
Seattle.
Not to dunk on Seattle. It's just like, okay, go off into the holiday break on a high note if you can. That'll make it easier to come out of it, hopefully. Feeling a lot better, a lot healthier.
Yep.
And have you thought of a goalie tandem nickname for Scott?
Yes.
And
Well,
Blackwood?
I haven't, but I had one passed on to me earlier, and I'm going to take credit for it in this exact moment. Do you have one?
Only one I've heard. It's not mine. I don't know where it
What did you
originally
hear?
started. The woodshed.
Oh, see, I heard the lumberyard.
I mean, there's a very common, there's a very real theme here.
Yeah, I liked them both. When someone told me the lumberyard earlier, I was like, yes, because it's not so doesn't have the word wood in it, so it's a little bit of a play. But I like the woodshed as well.
Yeah, those are both really good. What was with Mackenzie Blackwood not putting on the hat right away?
Yeah, I don't know, because he put it on, took pictures, and then he took it off, and Nate told him, you got to wear it for your whole interview. And he was like, Nate.
No.
And then he sat down, and then it was Kale several seconds later, and he goes, put it on. He goes, all right, I'll put it on.
He didn't know it was real.
Yeah. They were like, no, for real. And I love, my favorite part of them wearing the hat for the full post-game interview is Nate is the one who started that. I thought you just spilled water in your lap.
No,
that was the reaction of I just spilled something into my lap.
I screen grabbed this. I was going to send it to you. This is not the time, but it's McKinnon congratulating Mackenzie Blackwood on the ice after his first win in his debut. The smile on Nathan McKinnon's face is unlike a smile I've ever seen from him before. And I just feel like we need to punctuate this and acknowledge just how happy Nathan McKinnon appears to be playing with Mackenzie Blackwood. I got it off Tumblr, so there's like weird text in the background.
I just think that it's, he looks stoked.
No, it's a video. I don't know what happened. Anyways, this is
great
we have to do
podcasting.
live.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
But anyways, I just go back to what I was saying. You could feel Nathan McKinnon's face. You could feel that energy in the building
He's
on
happy.
Saturday night. And it was just a renewed sense of belief, a renewed sense of confidence. And now with the news that broke earlier this afternoon that Josh Manson is an option on this road trip, you're starting to feel like, all right, yeah, okay, maybe they are back a little bit here. And I really do, you got to get to the Christmas break. You got to survive through to the Christmas break. The Canucks are sick. You're sick. Don't get more sick. Don't get hurt. And just get through the next 4 games, pull some points out of them, pull 8 points out of it if you can. But just make sure that you come out of things on the positive side of it and get through and get some days off here. This has been a crazy schedule this season, and it doesn't really get earlier, and it's because you got 2 weeks off in February.
Yeah. January is going to be kind of bananas.
They all are. I was just doing this the other day. I was like, all right, well, when do they hit that month where it's just like nothing? And it's February, but that's for everyone.
Right.
But like when they're on, it's crazy.
It's a pretty crazy schedule. But Josh Manson being an option for some time in the road trip is huge news when Jared Bednar lied to us. I'm just kidding. On Altitude Radio saying the reinforcements aren't coming anytime soon. What's your definition of soon?
Well, so look, we've seen Josh Manson skating recently. I mean, I told you the other day, Megan, I said, he doesn't look that close to me. Based on a couple different things, I said, I just don't think he looks that close. So to hear that he was even an option for these 3 games, I thought was pretty encouraging. Truthfully, my guess is that he probably plays in that game against Seattle, get in 1 before the break, get those touches back. It just, I don't like the idea of coming back after missing any amount of, week, 2 weeks and going straight into a back-to-back. I just never liked that. That just seems like a recipe to get hurt again.
Yeah, and there's not an urgent need on the back end. They
Right.
still have Ludwig as an option. Middleton's been getting in games, and it's all been fun. I'm also sad to hear so many people in the chat are also battling illness. I do care about illness, and I hope
That's not what you said earlier.
I hope all of you feel better. And I want to drop a little bit of optimism. Teams playing sick just needs one hero, like the flu game that Gabriel Landeskog played with the infamous Landeskoging moment.
Invoking Gabe Landeskog's name
invoking
pre-game.
Gabe
Oh
Landeskog.
my
We
gosh.
just need a hero.
Wow, is Megan speculating that Gabe Landeskog is going to come back
okay,
in this
all
game?
right.
No.
You heard it here. I'm just kidding.
We're going to get some final thoughts on the night and just what we're expecting. We'll dabble in some predicting here. I do want to remind you guys about our fantastic partners over at Landmark Lincoln. Go to landmarklincoln.com right now and check out the all-new 2024 Lincoln Corsair GT plug-in hybrid. Check out the amazing tax incentives and latest offers. The tax incentives on the Corsair GT are unbelievable. Go to landmarklincoln.com or stop into the #1 Lincoln dealer in Colorado to see if you qualify for no payments for up to 90 days. Again, that's landmarklincoln.com or stop in at the corner of Broadway and Bellevue today to see why they've been Colorado's trusted Lincoln dealer since 1911. Also brought to you guys by our friends up at 7 Brew Coffee. 7 Brew is a one-of-a-kind drive-through and walk-up experience with a fast and friendly crew that is waiting to serve you. From rich, bold coffee to refreshing energy drinks, smoothies, teas, and more, 7 Brew has you covered. With their 20,000 flavor combinations, there's a perfect drink for everyone at 7 Brew. They believe in cultivating kindness with every cup, and their fully customizable menu is just the beginning. Before you hit the road, power up with 7 Brew in Firestone, their newest location right here in Colorado, and experience the coffee revolution. Megan and I will be up at 7 Brew Saturday afternoon. I think we're going to be going live right around noon for a live podcast up there in Firestone. And then we will be continuing on to the Eagles game that afternoon, matinee game We'll be covering it up there in Loveland. We'd love to see you both at 7 Brew, then on up at the Eagles game. Megan and Jay, who's in the control room back there. We're both up at Eagles for Teddy Bear Toss. Those games are always a blast. I love getting to go up there. So we'd love to see you for all of that coming up on Saturday. Megan, thoughts on tonight, what you're expecting, and then give me just any one random prediction. Doesn't have to be the result, doesn't have to be anything, just one thing that you think is going to happen here tonight.
Val to Ross Colton for another goal.
okay.
Goals in back-to-back games.
Perfect. I was going to say Val scoring a goal, and I was worried you were going to take it, and I was going to have to come up with one on the spot.
And it can be from Ross Colton.
All right, perfect.
It doesn't have to be. I made your prediction for you.
Overall expectations for the night.
It's very neutral. Like, they can win this game. I don't want to say they should. They can. And I want them to.
All right, that was about as neutral as you can get. You did not sell us short on that. Look, I think it's going to be a bounce back effort for the Avs. I think they're going to come out with more energy. I don't think, sick or not, I don't think they liked what they did against the Predators. And I think they feel lucky to have gotten out of that as unscathed as they did, in large part thanks to Mackenzie Blackwood. It's nice to have Mackenzie Blackwood doing those types of things,
See him.
but you don't want him having to do that every night. It's supposed to be different than when he played for the Sharks in Colorado. And then, yes, I'm with you. I want to see what is the repeat performance from Mackenzie Blackwood. Is it more of the same? Is it where he looks sharp, where he looks big, where he looks positionally sound, or not?
Maybe he's the hero.
There you go. You only need one. I think that's going to do it, guys. We are out of here. We'll be back at first intermission, and then again at second and post game. So make sure you're hanging out with us all night. Really looking forward to it, guys. We're going to have some fun. She's Megan. I'm Jesse. We'll be talking to you guys soon. Thanks so much.